welcome to Mind Your Business, the channel where we are in at everybody's business. If you don't mind getting in people's business, you're on the right channel. Talking about current topics and gossip. So, Shona tells Brad to enjoy F in the universe, and Porscha implies Terence was cheating during their time on the show. Wagwan, as people, my Inquisitive crew, let's get into Married at First Sight UK gossip, because now that the contestants have left, some of them have taken to social media to share their takes and their points of view. Now, after the shock exit of Brad and Shona, well, shock to Shona, I would say, and to Brad themselves, but for us watching, we saw all the red flags and we're probably quite happily waiting for them to have to exit. Well, I certainly was. But anyway, Shona definitely seemed like she was shocked by it. And, as we saw on the show, both of them were given the impression that they wanted to fight for their love. But, now that she's out, she has definitely come to her senses, thank the Lord, and has taken to her Instagram, basically, to speak out on the issue. Brad has also taken to his Instagram to talk about his take on it and say, apologies for the way he's being perceived. But we'll get to that in a moment. Now, Shona has taken to her Instagram and posted a few posts, to be fair. So one of the first posts she actually popped up was a post where it's her saying, could this be her last, dinner party? Then she mentions what you didn't see is what happened off camera afterwards, which meant a decision had to be made, a decision that I'm now very grateful for, she says. Now, this is interesting because I'm going to get to show you in a moment where we've got Porscha speaking about Terence. But she also mentions that they all went into lockdown. So this makes me think, well, was this Brad? Because if you look at some of the newspaper articles, like The Sun has an article out which says that MAFS UK bride Shona slams Brad as a liar and says he forced her to quit the show. So this makes me question, was this lockdown to do with Brad? We don't know. Everyone's tight-lipped about it at the moment, but it definitely seems like there's something weird definitely happened and was going on. Another post she pops up on her Instagram was the intervention, and she does talk about it being, one of her last posts, and that, she's being transparent. She also says that this moment was a very ultimate low for her, basically, and it was kind of the last straw with Brad's behaviour, which meant, they were told to leave and, that their relationship was unhealthy as well. Now, Brad agreed he couldn't be in the experiment anymore because he was struggling mentally. And she said that she was overcome with emotion and she hated that it had to come to that. She talks about her head being all over the place and that she foolishly wanted to stay and try and get help from the experts. But they had to go. And she said that she was actually blindsided by all the I love yous that Brad was giving her and telling her that, it'll be different on the outside. So she kind of was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But unfortunately, being sent home and everything that came before wasn't enough to make her wake up. That's another lesson that she needs, for herself. So she took that on as a lesson. Then her final post, she goes a bit more into it. She talks about her journey being over and that, you go and read it if you can. But essentially, she talks about the fact that she was definitely blindsided by all of his shitty behaviour because it always followed by a I love you. And we could see that, us watching it, I was definitely talking about him being very manipulative in his way and definitely gaslighting, definitely love bombing her is the gist that we get from it. She wanted to find love and she kind of believed what he was saying. And she does mention that she said the experiment wasn't to blame. He was the same person on the outside when we finally went our separate ways. And he told her that he never loved her. It was just a TV show. It was lust. And he never had any emotional attachment to her whatsoever. And she said that's when she finally woke the hell up, which is, sad that, he did that to her. Well, we could see that he was definitely manipulating. So it was all lust for him. And I was saying that it was lust, not love. Maybe she was blindsided by that, like she's admitting. But it definitely did come across as very much lust rather than anything else. She also goes on to say it made her look within and question why she put up with this behaviour, why being loved was so important to her, and finally, why did she kind of lose herself that much in that relationship? And she realised deep down that she needs to take some time to love herself, and that's what she's been doing, which is good. And, I say kudos to her for, realising that he definitely wasn't the one and that she deserved a lot better. And she did say that when she's writing this, that she felt, she's much more happier where she is. And ultimately, she does say, that she thanks Bradley for sending her on the biggest self-love journey that she could have had, basically. And she tells him to enjoy effing the universe, babes. And I said, yes, Shona, tell him that, yeah? Because she did go through a lot of crap on that. And it's sad to see that people are not genuine going on some of these shows. I said it before in one of my other videos. Are these people here for fame or for love? Clearly, Brad, was not here necessarily for love. He told her straight off afterwards that he didn't love her in the first place, which, if you're watching, you'd know that. But he also told her he didn't have no emotional attachment. So he was definitely gaslighting her, definitely manipulative, definitely seems like he was exhibiting coercive behaviour. Now, of course, obviously, I'm not going to be unfair. I'm going to pop in his little statement, just so you know, he's gone to his socials and Instagram to get his point out and says that, he's apologising for anyone who was offended and that, obviously we only saw 60 minutes of what had been lots of lengthy, filming and blah, blah, blah. So you can go and watch his Instagram to find out that. I'll put a snippet here so you can see that.
Hi guys, hope all is well. I just wanted to create this video with some short explanations of factors that have previously been at play and that are at play right now. First and foremost, I just want to apologise to absolutely anybody that my actions have offended in any way, shape or form during my time on the experiment of MAFS, and now it's being aired. I'm sorry that you all, including the people that I was on the show with, got to see the worst sides of me during my time within the experiment. At present, I am experiencing some heavy flows of hatred and malice from people who have evidently built up a very, very strong embedded opinion of me. Please open up to the fact that you are all judging me based on some very, very short snippets from hours and hours of filming, dramatised for the highest form of entertainment. I mean, as you can see on the show, I am extremely low and flat. And I mean, that resulted in a very unhappy person within a very suffocating and testing period. And this is no excuse for the way I acted at all. But this most definitely had an effect, resulting in certain frustrations being amplified and becoming the focus of the show. You are all watching a television program, and absolutely everything that I am projecting is from a position of trying to help, rather than to control or dictate, due to being in certain televised experiences before. I have never had the need or desire to control anybody in my entire life. And I have never once told anybody that they was never allowed to do anything at all.
So Brad did have more to say, so go to his Instagram to see the rest of his statement. But what do you guys think? Do you think that this lockdown was due to Brad and Shona and something kicking off there? Or something else? Because to me, the indications are given that it was to do with these guys. What do you think about that? On to Porscha and Terence. So now Porscha is implying that Terence not only cheated, he admits cheating previously in relationships when they had their conversation at the dinner table in their honeymoon. But she's actually implying that he actually cheated on her throughout this process. And she gives her take on why she feels like he's cheated in this process. And she mentions, the fact that when they were able to go and see their kids, she was noticing that he wasn't coming back and that she felt like he wanted to leave from the very beginning because essentially he had other commitments out here with other women. And he told them that he was on a holiday and not on this show. Now, so this all sounds very interesting. Let's see what Porscha has to say.
I mean, I'll be so for real. Like, I don't know if you're talking about his cheating that he spoke to me about on honeymoon or the cheating that I found out once the show aired, but I'll be so for real. Like, I always felt like something was off, especially while we were in the apartments, because we had a day off, and usually because there was some issues which I'm not allowed to go into with the cast members, we actually ended up going into lockdown. So people weren't allowed out of the building after 7 p.m. We were under complete lockdown, even on our days off. But because me and Terence were parents, we were allowed to go and see our kids on our day off. We weren't even allowed out the local area. Like, literally, we had to stay where we were filming in Wembley. We weren't allowed out the local area. But me and Terence were allowed out because on our days off, so that we can go and see our kids. And the thing that always made me think something's a bit off is his kids that he were going to see are quite small. They're quite young. It was usually, our day off was usually like a Thursday or Wednesday, which is like a school night, right? So I would assume that he would come home, by 9, because I would be back around 7, 8. I'd spend the whole day with my son from morning. He would go drive to his town as well and do that. So, but there will be times where he would stay the night because he would say the kids want to spend the night with him or whatever. These times I'm pretty sure he lives with his mom, so I'm like, where they staying? But also, what was I gonna say? It just was iffy, because it's like, you know, why you spend, like, if you to sleep with your kids just for them to go to school first thing in the morning. It didn't make sense for you to drive back into London at 7 whatever in the morning during rush hour instead of driving back in the night where it's just an easier drive, like the whole thing. But I was like, you know what, it's none of my business. Like, I don't know the relationship between him and his kids, let him do his thing. So I was like, cool. But I knew if there was any issues, it would come out when the show came out. Another thing as well, when we were filming, I asked him if the mother of his children knew that he had married a stranger. He told me no, and I was like, whoa, like, you know, you see this woman every week because you're gonna go see your kids. Don't you think you should let her know? Because this is a pretty big deal. Like, her ex is getting married, you know, on TV. And he was like, oh no, I don't want to tell her because, like, you know, I feel like if she just mentioned it to someone, it might get out in the press, and, you know, from NDA, secrecy, blah blah blah. And I was just like, so you don't even like really trust her to keep her mouth closed? All of it felt really iffy. But I'm not one to question anyone's relationship, especially because I don't know the dynamics. But the fact that he hadn't told her was a red flag to me. And from the messages that I've received from these women, he hadn't told them until the adverts come out. And he did say to me, I'm going to tell none of my children a few weeks before the adverts come out, because then it's not really a big deal. So I was like, that kind of correlates to the story that these girls are telling me, that he only told them when the adverts went out that he's on the show. So I do believe them. They've told me other intimate things about him that only I would know, but I know that they know him intimately, and just certain timelines really matched up. So I was like, okay, cool. It makes sense as to why he was so eager to leave, because who writes leave on the first week? He was so eager to leave because he told them he was on holiday. So he was needed back. Do you know what I mean? He was trying to get back to where he needed to be before people realized he was missing. So it really makes sense why he's just like, every little thing, I gotta leave, because he never ever planned to stay. Like, he was there to get his name, to get his publicity, to promote his DJ business. And it's so frustrating that people keep saying that I was there for fame. If you know me, you know how much I value love and how much I think marriage is a sacred thing.
So you just heard from Porscha, and that's her perspective on the issue, and I think it's an interesting take on it. So we know that Terence has, you know, admitted to cheating in the past. He admitted that when they had their dinner table talk. We know that. So therefore, we know that he's capable of doing it. On the other side, there's a whole, is it a case of, why didn't she say this on the show? And is she saying this now because obviously she's looking bad because she's been linked with this whole spin the bottle of debacle, where she was revealed to have kissed, you know, 3-4 guys, whatever. Check my last video. And you see both Porscha and Luke talking about that in my last video. Yeah, so what do you guys think? You know, is it a case of, did he go off and cheat? And if that's the case, you know, I think we should see some receipts. Receipts should be shown. If not, you know, is it a case of, do you feel like it's just Porscha just trying to do a little bit of, you know, defensive action, even though she says on here that she's not really about that? You know, she does basically believe in marriage, but then also it does, you know, bode the question is, why did you think doing a spin the bottle challenge was actually appropriate to do during, you know, being a married person? But anyway, that's that, guys. What do you think on all of this? What do you think about Shona telling Brad to go and F the universe? What do you think about Porscha saying that basically she thinks Terence was cheating on her during the process? Let me know your thoughts below. Yes, so thanks for watching that. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell so you know when I am uploading some more of people's business. So until then, my nosy people, stay blessed.